Coming off of a very exciting 6-2 victory in the Winter Classic versus the Chicago Blackhawks, the Blues start off 2025 with a 4-0 victory versus the Ottawa Senators. Welcome everybody to the Blues Reaction Show. I'm your host, AJ Nance, and of course go subscribe on YouTube and like the video over there if you're watching on YouTube. And of course go follow and rate the podcast on Spotify or Amazon Music if you are listening over there. I wasn't able to post a Blues reaction show to the Winter Classic the other night. It's a very exciting 6-2 victory. Cam Fowler, the star of the game in that one, 2 goals in his 1,000th game, and he's been a tremendous addition to the Blues these last 2 weeks or so. But wasn't able to post a reaction show to that one. I do have a reaction show for this one, though. A 4-0 victory for the Blues versus the Ottawa Senators. Both teams almost identical records after this one. The Senators are now 19-17-2 on the year, and the Blues now sit 19-17-4, 2 games over 500 for the first time since late October. You heard me correctly. First time since late October, the Blues are 2 games over 500. There's a definite, very good vibe going on with the Blues right now, and I hope we continue to ride this momentum. All 4 lines are very much producing right now. Tonight, Brandon Saad was the hero. 3 goals, a hat trick for Brandon Saad, 6 shots. He was really putting it on net, and obviously a +3 with the shutout and the hat trick. Brandon Saad, every couple months has a game like this where he just looks really, really good, and he finds himself in the right spot. About a month ago, he had a 2-goal game. I believe it was against the Rangers, maybe, something like that. But he had a 2-goal game, and it kind of came out of nowhere. He was just finding himself in the right spots at the right time, and he was really good in this one as well, obviously, with the hat trick. So 3 goals for Brandon Saad. Another guy that really stood out offensively, Braden Shen. A goal in this one, looked really, really good on both sides of the ice. Really good defensively, and I think that was the biggest thing. Forwards and defensemen. Obviously, Jordan Binnington is going to get all the love for his 20-for-20 performance in net and the shutout, but the forwards and defensemen, both groups were phenomenal defensively tonight. All 4 lines. You talk about Matthew Joseph being inserted back into the lineup. He was really good defensively. I thought Braden Chen was really good. I thought the bottom guys, Nathan Walker, very active. Alexei Toropchenko, very active. You're seeing also under Montgomery, guys elevate their game that I guess potentially feel really comfortable under Monty. You talk about Bolduc and Holloway, how they have elevated their games to another level, especially Holloway, who's turning into a top 3-4 player on our team right now. And he's also very young. Buchnevich has played really well on both sides of the ice recently. I don't have many complaints about anybody in our rotation recently, even guys that aren't producing points. We talk about guys like Tyler Tucker, who's in the middle of absolutely everything. You send down a guy like Matthew Kessel, who's not a big stir-it-up type of guy, but a smooth, extra defenseman to have. You bring up Tyler Tucker to bring some toughness and energy to this group, especially the defensive group, and he stirs it up every night. He's always in the middle of things. He's willing to drop the gloves with anybody, and he's been really a good addition. Colton Parayko, absolute dominant performance tonight. Had an assist, was +3 on the ice, and he has really elevated his game these last couple weeks. And honestly, all of this 2024-2025 campaign, he's looked really good. Offensively, one of his best starts to his career, 6 goals, 16 assists, 22 points on the year, and defensively being very dominant and a big force back there without being a very physical force. He's getting the job done. No Justin Falk tonight. He was a little banged up in the game in the Winter Classic versus the Blackhawks. Got a little dinged up in that one late, even though he did have a goal in that one. I must mention, because I believe it was 35 games since his last goal before that one. So shout out Justin Falk for the goal in that one. You're getting other guys that are making progress though. We talk about a guy like Texier, Alexander Texier. Only 3 goals and 4 assists on the year, but he's had a couple really good moments these last week and a half, 2 weeks, and also a couple shifts where he just looks really, really good. So you're having all these guys kind of mesh at the right time, and we have an upcoming schedule of the Blue Jackets and then a tough one versus the Wild, But then you have the Ducks, the Blue Jackets again, 2 games versus the Flames, which we beat in overtime last time. You got the Utah Hockey Club after that, and then you have the Golden Knights for 2 games. So you have a stretch of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the next 8, excluding the Minnesota Wild there as that 8th game. 7 of these next 8 games are very winnable, and I think we can compete with the Wild, but they are an upper echelon type organization when you compare them to the other teams we're going to play. But we're talking about 2 games versus the Blue Jackets, a game versus the Ducks, 2 games versus the Flames, and then the Utah Hockey Club. Those are 7 games that are extremely winnable. And if you win, including the Wild game, 6 of 8, 7 of 8 potentially, you can really build some ground in the standings, and we can potentially make a midseason turnaround. I don't want to compare it to 2019, but we did have a coaching change, and we are having some momentum building here. And I don't want to compare it to that group because I think the rosters are different in a sense. But, man, this is a stretch coming up here that could definitely define our season, because if you win 7 of these next 8 games, you knock out the Blue Jackets twice, you knock out the Flames, you knock out the Ducks, which we should, and you keep this momentum building after a really dominant win versus the Blackhawks, a really dominant win versus the Senators, and who knows what the rest of the season could look like. I'm really proud of this group right now, though. We don't have, I guess, the same 4 lines we had in 2019 that you can roll out, but I also think you have guys that not degrading or taken away from what Ryan O'Reilly produced back in 2019, or what a guy like Alex Pietrangelo produced on the defensive side, and obviously Tarasenko. But Robert Thomas is turning into an absolute superstar, and that's not a guy that you had play style-wise back in 2019. Tarasenko was really dominant at times, and Pietrangelo was really dominant at times, but I think Colton Parayko, between Parayko, Broberg, Perunovic got the start tonight. I was just looking at that. Between Broberg, Parayko, and how Cam Fowler's playing right now, like, those 3 guys are really, really solid. And that whole defensive group, Perunovic hasn't even been playing. Tucker's been playing really well. Suter's been playing well, obviously. And then Justin Falk has been better as of late. Obviously, he didn't play in this one. You make up for more than what Petro and Bouwmeester gave you, in my opinion, with those guys, if Cam Fowler continues to produce this way. And I know that's something that might sound crazy to say, because Bouwmeester late in that stretch was really, really solid, and Petro was great. But forward group-wise, Thomas is better than what we had of anybody back then, and obviously we had more depth back then, but Robert Thomas has elevated his game to a superstar level as of late, and Jordan Kyrou is having, in my opinion, his best season of his career. 16 points, or 16 goals, 16 assists, 32 points, a +8 on the ice. He is not getting talked about enough. Jordan Kyrou is having a breakout season on both sides of the ice. We're not just talking about offensively. We know he can put up 35+ goals, and he's on pace to do that once again this year. But he's also defensively, I mean, he was like a -40 last year. This guy's a +8 this year. He's back checking a whole lot better. I mean, visibly, you can see it. If you just watch him on the ice, number 25, he is visibly getting back at a much higher clip, and he's exerting a lot more effort on the defensive side of the puck. So really love seeing that from Jordan Kyrou. You have Dylan Holloway elevating his game. 14 goals, 13 assists, 27 points on the year. He's a +9. And then I also mentioned Zachary Bolduc. 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points, +8 for him as well. Your fourth line, you haven't even gotten Foxa back in the lineup. I think he's a really good depth piece. You got Nathan Walker playing really, really smart and high energy hockey right now. Toropchenko doing his thing alongside Walker. And then in the back end, we haven't even talked about Binnington and Hofer. Those 2 guys have been really, really good. And after coming off of 2 dominant wins, yes, it's easy for me to get ahead of myself, and I probably am. But 2 dominant wins versus a Blackhawks team that's obviously not very good, a Senators team that's solid, and then you have very winnable games moving forward. I really want to see how we perform in that Minnesota Wild matchup in a couple games, but you look at these next 8 games, and there's 7 extremely winnable games in there before we get a little more of a tough stretch with the Canucks and the Golden Knights a couple times. So this defines our season. Are we going to be that team that hovers around 500 like we have the majority of the season so far, or can we, explode and catapult ourselves through this up the standings these next couple weeks with these very winnable matchups? Time will tell, and these next couple weeks will be very interesting to keep an eye on and tap in on. So make sure to do that. But that's going to wrap it up for a very quick Blues reaction show to this Senators matchup. Brandon Saad, the star tonight. Actually, let's break down our 3 stars. I'm going to give Brandon Saad, obviously, the first star of the night. 3 goals, the hat trick. Great night for Saad, his 5th, 6th, and 7th goal of the season. Number 2 star, I'm going to give it to Jordan Binnington, the shutout, 20 for 20 in net. I know I talked about how great the forward group and defensive group was defensively tonight, and I didn't even talk about Binnington much at all in this one, but I do have to give him the shout out here for the shutout, 20 for 20 in net. And the 3rd star, I'll probably give it to the captain, Brayden Schenn. He had the first goal in this one, but also overall just leading this group these last I would say the last week or so, offensively, producing a little bit more, and defensively just really solid, making it, his captaincy known, especially in that Winter Classic, dropping the gloves with Foligno in a situation where Foligno was trying to get the Blackhawks whole team fired up and get them kind of focused again and going and get the juices flowing. And Schenn didn't have to oblige to that. He did not have to fight Foligno in that one, but he did. And those are the type of things that Brayden Schenn provides to this team. The type of, gut. I don't know what I'm trying to say. The toughness, the little things. He does all the little things for you, especially as a captain. You want that, and that I think that was one of those signs of things. And I think Brayden Schenn deserves a 3rd star tonight in this one for his goal. But huge shout out to Colton Parayko as well, +3 on the ice, 3 block shots in this one, which led the group. Kyrou with 3 block shots. Look at that. Another Jordan Kyrou shout out for his play. So really good performance from the Blues in this one. We are back in action on Saturday, this Saturday, as you are hopefully listening to this episode, at the Columbus Blue Jackets. A quick turnaround versus a team that's also hovering around 500, and a chance for us to continue moving forward with the momentum that we have currently. So thank you guys for listening to this Blues reaction show. I will see you guys on Sunday, tomorrow if you were listening on a Saturday. I will see you guys on Sunday for the Blues reaction show for their game versus the Columbus Blue Jackets. Besides that, a lot of clips are going to be posted these upcoming weeks and even beyond on Instagram and TikTok, so make sure to go follow over there at Arch City Sports, and I will see you guys for this next Blues reaction show on Sunday.